What's up, guys? Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Streetcar Shenanigans YouTube channel. It is 1 in the morning. We just got done eating dinner, Taco Bell for the win. And we are moving on to the next project. So we actually finished up Gary's, for now, 67, for now. A couple things. One, the window tracks and stuff is what he really wants us to look at. We gotta put weather stripping in it. We have to order the weather stripping. There's some clips missing to do some of the other stuff. So we didn't really mess with the interior quite yet, aside from mounting like a fire extinguisher. We were fixing all the leaks, which as of right now, it looks like we're pretty successful at. We've ran it, it's idled, it's gotten up to temp, yada yada, all that fun stuff. Now the only problem is the power steering lines are leaking really bad, which they were not leaking when it got here, so it makes it uber frustrating. So that's next on the list for tomorrow. But we are 1 week behind schedule on this car. So welcome to our next project. This is the Fobra. It is owned by John and John, father-son combo, and it is a 2-valve, primarily stock it looks like, larger injectors, but it has a TorqueTech blower kit on it. So it's got this big gnarly front plate. It's got a M112 Cobra blower on top with a different intake setup on it. Then it's got some miscellaneous stuff like a older air oil separator for the PCV system. Still has EGR. It's got a lot of Moroso, Canton fabricated stuff, which is, these ones are acceptable, although they're not in the right locations, so we're gonna try to fix that. Those ones, however, those are not acceptable. Those are ugly, should go away. No offense, John, sorry. I know you probably like it. Anyway, so that's what we're working on. It has a broken ringland, so we're gonna yank this thing out of here. We gotta make sure the head is okay. And then we'll bring some details in the next video on what we're gonna put into this thing to kind of step it up a little bit, not too crazy. He's actually happy with the power that it makes now, but when you're tearing it apart, 2 valves can use some help, so we're gonna give it some help. So to start the evening, or morning.
Nice bath already.
Yeah. Dan's like, let's drain the radiator. I said, well, that'll be a good indication of how the rest of this project will go at 1 o'clock this morning. And it did not go well. There's antifreeze everywhere. We have to lift the car up and clean now before we even go any further. But we're just gonna start thrashing on this. We're gonna start getting everything out of the front, out of the way. Just kind of, everything's already disconnected. Unfortunately, we did not get this car running. We did not get to see it even crank or start or nothing. Because even with the broken ring line, it probably should have ran. He brought it to another shop. The shop disassembled the whole entire top end of it, gave him a box of parts and said, hey, we don't do engine replacements here. Which was nice of them, so we have to work with that. We need a trans jack. If we ever upgrade to a larger space where we have room for a trans jack, one will be purchased. But the 3650 is on the ground. Harness is hanging. I don't have a flashlight. There's a flashlight. So we got cat back still in the car. And the trans is out. We're gonna start moving to the top end. This bolt rounded out on the top. Good thing we're putting long tube headers on it, so we just cut the exhaust off there.
Yes, they came off.
They were having a major clutch issue. I don't know if it has the wrong clutch in it or what. They had like no adjustment. Oh, that doesn't feel very good. It's nice and dry. We'll be revisiting this. That doesn't feel very good though. That should be nice and smooth, and it is not. Did you catch your breath? Dan just squatted that thing out like a beast. Well, we're gonna get to the top side. We have to undo a bunch of stuff, take the radiator out, things like that. But we're about 2 hours in, hour and a half in right now. It's 3 a.m. and we're gonna get this motor out before we go to bed. All right, it's 3:40 a.m. We are cranking on JohnJohn's Fauxbra. Oh, we just gave it a new name. And we have everything underneath it done. All the harnesses are detached. The AC compressor's off. The Hydro Boost pump is off. Obviously the trans is out. Oil's drained, coolant's drained. That's about it.
Time to move up top.
Yeah, it's time to move on back up and remove the rest of the stuff and get this motor out of here. T-minus 30 minutes till engine removal. fast forward. All right, I think it's been like, what time is it now?
4:20-ish.
4:20, so it's been another half hour. I would like to think that we're at least making pretty good time on this. She's ready to come out, harness is up there. We're probably gonna take the harness off over there and put it on the motor once the motor's done, and then drop it in and just plug it in, which we should have done and take it off. But it was already halfway taken apart when we got to it, so it was just easier to finish taking it off. But you can see the Torque Tech kit flips this alternator around. And it kind of converts the whole front accessory drive to be very similar to a Cobra, minus the alternator is driven. It's actually better.
Similar to a Lightning.
Oh, more similar to a Lightning.
How the Lightning just goes from crank to blower. That's it. Whereas on the Cobra, it goes crank, alternator as well.
So you don't overspin the alternator in this.
Right.
So it's like better than a Cobra. The JohnJohn Fauxbra. 1, Cobra 0. Overall, everything looks okay. I mean, obviously there's some botched work on it. Some poor wiring putting the fog lights in. There's a lot of exposed wire over there. Lots of couplers and stuff with the vacuum lines. There was no grommet in that valve cover for the PCV. And this PCV was ran to all over the engine bay, and it had this ugly jegs thing on it. So we'll end up putting like a real catch can on it, or a JLT oil separator, something that's a little bit bigger, a little bit nicer. But as you can see, we are getting ready to pull it. Dan's gonna try to squeeze that through an impossible space. There's no way that's fitting. Oh, she gonna get it. And she should come like right out. We got everything off of this thing. The only thing that we're gonna fight is two opposite corners. We have the Hydro Boost in this corner, and in this corner of the ring, weighing in at 32 pounds, is the cut exhaust that's gonna hit the firewall as we're hitting this Hydro Boost system. So we're gonna have to finagle around both of those. But otherwise, way to pull the Hydro Boost pump off. AC, I think I already told you guys that. Otherwise, we're tired. Our goal is to get this on the engine stand before we go wake up Danny at 4 in the morning when she has to go to work at 5.
5 in the morning, we're about to get home.
She'll love us for that. We might as well just go to Dunkin' Donuts for breakfast and bring her breakfast, and then we'll go to bed. Not finding good news. The clutch is absolutely destroyed. I don't think it had the proper clutch on here, because this had multiple problems. It is worn down to nothing, down to rivets, way past the material. I mean, that's all the material's gone. Rivets all the way down. How is this even driving? And Dan pointed out a couple cracks. That one's bad. That one makes this junk. Needs a flywheel.
There's a few along the bottom.
That's bad. Bad news. Well, ladies and gentlemen, this is why it is hard to stick to a budget when you like race cars. Never know what you're gonna find in a good old okay, I think that's factory. Alright, so motor's out. We're gonna blast the flywheel off. We're gonna get it on the engine stand, and then we're gonna go get some sleep. So thank you guys so much for tuning into the teardown on this thing. Actually, the video's not over yet. Once we pull the heads off, we're gonna end the video. So stay tuned for that, coming tomorrow morning. Another 5 minutes of the video and you'll see that. So make sure you subscribe down below so you can see the JohnJohn Fauxbra come back to life and see if we can make a little 2-valve, make a little power here at Street Car Shenanigans. Oh yeah. See you in the morning. Dan, you wanna close it out? No. All right, fast forward 2 days and change of clothes later. We're finally tearing apart the 2 valve, unlike how we started this video. But she's getting there. The Torque Tech plate kit was only held on really by 3 bolts into aluminum, which is kind of sketchy, but obviously they don't have a problem with that. So we got that off, we got the valve covers off. But everything looks pretty good. No real issues. The timing cover's all loose, balancer's off. Getting ready to take the timing cover off, then we can take the heads off, and then we'll start focusing on the bottom. But as of right now, it's looking okay. So we're expecting to see like 2 or 3 broken ring lands on this situation. And once we get the heads off, we'll definitely know for sure. And then we'll kind of get this thing torn down all the way. We'll discuss what we're thinking about for upgrades. And that's pretty much gonna be it for the video. Just showing you guys it torn apart, what the Carnage was. And we'll show you guys that right now. All right, so we're almost done tearing apart the 2 valve engine completely. We have the heads off. We still have to do the bottom end, which might wait until tomorrow. But everything looks pretty good. Oh, except for that guy right there. No bueno. So that was the cause, there was the failure. You can see it beat around in there a little bit. We actually found some pieces of it in the catalytic converter on that side. I don't know if I'll be able to see it in there. I don't know, you can't see anything right now. Our biggest concern to stay within budget is hopefully the head isn't damaged. And luckily, only the valves got pretty beat up. So this is the cylinder that it was. I got pretty chipped up, but that's not that big of a deal. Throw a couple valves in it, do a fresh surface on it, and get these nice trued up and ready to go. We're gonna put a comp cams valve spring in it, because we're gonna put comp cams, blower cams in it. That pretty much wraps up the teardown on the JohnJohn Fauxbra 2 valve. I have to organize all my parts, put these back on the shelves, and then we'll start working on tearing down the rest of it. Now the game plan on this is that John was actually pretty happy, one John, the older John, dad, son. Dad was pretty happy with the power that the car made already. So he just wants it to sound a little bit meaner, which is why we're going to put some camshafts in it, pick up a little bit of power, but 2 valves really don't pick up a whole lot with a set of cams. So we're going to put some camshafts in it. We're going to put a forged bottom end in it just to make sure that it's safe and sturdy for if he ever does want to maybe turn it up a little bit. With the Torque Tech blower kit, you can put a VMP on top of it, and we think that'd be pretty nasty. So that's kind of what we would hope to see happen to the car in the future, maybe with the E85, and really see what it could do compared to a 4 valve. Motor's torn down, we're gonna get it, rotating assembly taken out of it, then we're gonna get this thing over to MJE so Mark can assemble us a forged short block. And then in the upcoming episode soon, obviously we'll be putting it together, we'll be degreeing the camshafts, we're gonna put comp cams off the shelf, blower cams, adjustable cam gears, we can degree everything in. We're gonna put a new timing set on it, we're gonna put new guides, tensioners, update everything, and then obviously seal it up real nice and tight and send her home. So thank you guys so much for watching this episode, tearing apart another 2 valve on the channel. If you have any questions or need help with what you're working on, comment in the section down below and subscribe so you guys can see an update on the future of this car. Man, my face is filthy. But we'll see you guys next time.